You are the only member of the European Parliament here at the moment. What do you think?
I think the only reason we're in this situation and facing a no deal is because of the unwillingness and incompetence of all our MPs. I think they're below par. I think they're well, I believe that Parliament's weak anyway as a result of membership to the EU, but I had no idea it was this bad.
Do you know, I think I said something very similar on the radio show the other day. Should Boris take Nigel's offer of a Brexit pact to get this done?
If Boris wants to put the country before his party, if he wants Brexit done, a clean Brexit, not another version of Remain that May's deal is, exactly, then he will. If he hasn't, if he's got more party concerns, like the old politics that we want to change, then maybe he won't. But then if Corbyn gets in and the Brexit vote is split, then the blame will be at his door, because we've offered. But we're not sitting around waiting like some Tory light sidekick. We've got stalls every day, we're doing rallies every day, we've now got Hartlepool Council, you know, taken over by the Brexit Party. Things are happening, we are growing.
Do not take any monkeys to Hartlepool.
My upset at the moment is that the Brexit Party and the Labour Party have become extremes, okay? And actually, I'm a member of the Lib Dems, but I thought Rory Stewart spoke brilliantly the other day. And actually, the only way to divide the country, which probably will never happen now, would be to have a softer Brexit, because it's compromise. And you can't dismiss that 16 million people really felt strongly about staying, and that since then there has been so much information come to light. I personally believe you can't speak for the whole country at this stage and say this is what people still think. How do we know? We can't possibly know. And I know we'll find out when we get an election, but you know what? It could be a hung parliament all over again.
But do you think it's extreme or moderate for a democratic vote to be overturned? Because the Brexit Party, for me, is an incredibly moderate and positive party.
You keep using the word overturned.
Yeah, it is. Your
really
Lib Dem
like
leader
that.
said even if there was a second referendum, she still wouldn't accept it. It's hardly democratic.
Well, the Liberals. So
yeah, but you should at least, the loser's consent is essential in any democratic vote.
I was a Remainer to begin with, and then I decided, after having thought about it, I think we better leave.
No, why on earth aren't we having a referendendum then? Because how many other people have changed their mind?
Belinda, why?
One way or another.
This argument drives me absolutely nuts. It's like you're in some sort of, no offence to you in particular, but the Remain bubble is in complete denial. If you go down the path of governments respecting some democratic votes and not respecting other democratic votes, you are on a very dangerous path. And the most important thing, saying, oh, but maybe people have changed your minds, it's Remainers that keep telling us, you know, that we need a second referendum. I don't see any Brexiteer championing because you cannot overturn a democratic vote unless it's got to be implemented first. There's no point in having democracy or votes if the results aren't implemented.
Jemma?
Once it's implemented, then let's have a people's vote a few years down the line, if you like.
I'm afraid I think the bubble is if I have another person shouting at me going 17.4 million, let's just get on with it. That to me is a slogan.
But that is democracy.
Because I would say, get on with what? And they'll go, leave, just leave, just leave. It's like, how is very crucial. And that vote, okay, there was a slim majority, 16 million people voted to keep the status quo. It is, absolutely. We've spent 3 years trying to implement it, really unsuccessfully.
Really? I think you spent 3 years trying to resist democracy.
Ricky the Remainer is being trolled a hell of a lot on social media tonight. Ricky, don't stand for it.
Jeff Joffe, he says Ricky's only 18, so you have to give him some credit. I'm actually not that yet, but thank you. Doozer says soggy behind to ears. Northernist. And another chap, Helmet, he says Ricky's state education is showing he's fresh out of the system and knows not a lot, but using other words.
Yeah, quite intelligent trolling. I'm pleased to see that.
Right. It's interesting that he's basically hired to read out his own trolls.
Well, no, we didn't actually expect him to have so many, but there we are, because he's so opinionated.
I genuinely think Boris really doesn't want no deal at all, and he's working to resurrect May's old deal.
I don't think
anyway.
anybody wants a deal, no deal.
No, I don't think that's our first choice, but it might be the only Brexit we have, because May's deal isn't obviously Brexit. So anyway, the point is that Article 50 is EU law. That takes precedent over our law. So that's something to consider.
You're a mum. Are you not worried about your children and if there is a no-deal Brexit, all the hardship?
Not in the slightest. We're going to wake up on the 1st of November and everything is going to be just as it was on the 31st of October. I am not belittling concerns that people have, but I think there's so much whipped up about it. I just wish we dealt with facts instead of speculation, number one. And number two, I think once we have control over our money, we can use that money to mitigate the sort of problems and concerns people have in areas. We've had 3 years. Businesses have had 3 years to prepare for no deal. If no deal goes, up, then unfortunately that's down to lack of preparation in the main part. So who's to blame for that?
Should we do a bit on climate change? Anybody interested or not?
Yeah, of course.
Right, why?
Well, I would say it's more important than Brexit, let's put it that way.
Why?
Well, because the
Do you
science
believe
shows...
in all of
Climate
this?
change is happening faster.
Please don't start being a climate change denier. That would really upset
Do you know, that
me.
really is offensive. I find that really offensive.
Yeah.
I don't mind talking about climate change. It's when people get a bit and they start using terms like climate change denier, the world is going to come to an end in 11 months if we don't do something. I can absolutely guarantee if it was that serious, we wouldn't be driving cars, we wouldn't be flying planes. The government of the day around the world would have started to do something about it. The climate always changes.
You might
and we
feel-
might affect it, but it always changes.
It's not going to affect you. It's not going to affect me. It's going to affect probably
Well, the way some
my...
people are talking, it's happening in the next few months.
Well, it is happening, isn't it?
Possibly.
Of course it is. I can't. Oh God, jeez, what year is this? This is like so worrying. And
The climate is always changing. It will always change. Eventually, we will go back to an ice age.
Now it's like a death cult, isn't it? I mean, kids are terrified they're going to die because, and they're not going to see a polar bear ever.
No, they
It's
don't.
just
You've got this
stupid.
generation who are being scared within an inch of their lives
Exactly.
about Brexit is going to kill everyone and Armageddon and all Brexiteers are the horsemen of the apocalypse. Then you've got the climate change thing, the world's going to end soon. These poor teenagers are having to deal with so much more stress. No wonder it's all this anxiety and, oh my God,
Yeah.
on nerves and
I agree,
social
but
media.
that's not the
We
message
should
they're
just
getting
be
in my
calm. Like the
house.
Plastic in the Sea initiative, I thought was fantastic.
I totally agree with that, by
and
the
all
way.
my kids.
I totally
but
agree with
this
that,
sort of
before everybody
direct
has a go.
action of very posh, well, affluent students hanging out, throwing
can
paint
afford
over
to take
themselves.
time off to
It's
go and hang
very
around
first-
Heathrow.
It's the very first world sort of preoccupation.
The trolls are out in full. They're just wonderful people, aren't they? I've got this one in saying, yes, microplastics need to be sorted out for sure because that's real. I think we know that one might actually be real. And Aiden has said, Ramonas, what are you going to moan about when Brexit is over? And I can assure you it's going to be about the climate. So
change.
sorted it for you
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Last time we spoke, T-Dog was in, convinced that she would surely win. Her job she'd put out on the line to push her plan through just in time. They weren't convinced, they shouted no, so it was time for her to go. That's noted, recorded, it's summer break, hooray! And so we spend the summer months, pay close attention to each dunce as one by one they stand and shout that they will find a safe way out. They'll lead us all to pastures new, but you can't vote unless you're blue. That's noted, recorded, democracy, they say. 10 horses started in the race, a week of ballots then took place. Rod led some Hancock Mook, they got a kicking. They had a shot, but then went raw, Javid and Gove, you know the score. That leaves us Hunt and Johnson, what a picking! Despite lots of controversy, it's Boris who then takes the lead. The PM of our great country voted for by 0.13%. A sad indictment this you'd call the biggest liar of them all. That's noted, recorded, esse quam videre. So, cabinet's chosen, Cummings hired, prorogued the plan, it then transpired. That can't be fair, the people cry. The answer's Brexit, do or die. The Queen consents MPs all scheme, Jacob Rees-Mogg becomes a meme. That's noted, recorded, this is politics at play, and it's still only Monday. Oh my God, I want to run away, but there's so much left to say.
Fireman Sam has been axed. The fire brigade mascot is putting off women joining the fire service. To me, it doesn't matter whether you're a man, a woman, or anything in between. If you want to be a fire person, there's just one thing you've got to be able to do.
Put out fires.
No. You've got to put out fires, obviously. But you've got to be able to throw another human being over your shoulder and run up and down a ladder.
It's a children's programme, leave them alone.
Exactly,
It's not a recruiting advert for fire people.
what about Dora
It's
Explorer?
ridiculous.
OK, listen, if that's fun, what about this? Monopoly is sexist.
Yes.
Have you seen this story?
I absolutely hate this
Hasbro
story.
bringing out a feminist version of Monopoly.
Patronising rubbish, isn't it? I mean, it's like...
Well, I think they've got it wrong about feminism as well.
So it's not, because they're implying that all us helpless little girlies actually need sort of like, you know, to be helped along the way. We're equal. We know we're equal. We're actually probably better than you lot. But it's like, this is implying that we need help from you big, strong men.
My wife had a saying. My wife used to say, any woman that wants to be equal to a man lacks ambition.
Exactly. Yeah, she was so right.
My problem with it, that if you are a feminist, which all that means is you want to
Be
be treated,
equal,
be
yeah.
equal, is then this game, they're saying about women getting paid more. Well, that's not the
It's
point,
not-
is it?
it's not
You
about
want to get
equality.
paid the same.
Yeah.
There is such a thing as a gender pay gap, it's
Yeah.
still prevalent, but you don't want to earn more than a man for doing the same job.
Actually, Gemma,
you want to be paid the
does look a bit
same.
like you. And plus, can you imagine playing this on Christmas Day? You know, after your Christmas dinner with your Quality Street and discussing gender
Equality
politics.
Street.
Gender politics, yeah. Over Christmas. I'm sorry.
It's
not fun.
Lucas doing that all-female cabinet. It's crazy. I'm not teaching my daughters for them to succeed. Men have to stand aside.
Yeah.
No.
They get all-female anything. What good is that going to do? There's no point in squishing men to make us feel better. It's about equal opportunities, not equal outcomes.
Yeah.
We need to do the work based on merit.
I actually find Monopoly incredibly tedious. I'm just gonna. My kids sometimes are like, "Please, can we play Monopoly?"
Oh,
I
hang
guess
on,
where I'm
Al's
like
a
stealing
champion
money
at
out the bank.
Monopoly. Al's a champion.
World champion.
Are you?
I've got
so many
all of.
talents.
No, I'm not. I'm not at all. No, I mean it's fun for Christmas, but like you say, who wants to bring gender politics into it on Christmas Day? You know.
Not after a glass of
Kids
wine.
need to
Okay, we're nearly finished. I want to come through the panel again. Gemma,
Yes.
do you think we're going to leave on the 31st of October?
Probably not.
Okay, Al?
No.
Dawn?
I really hope we do, but I don't think we will.
Belinda?
I will do everything I can in Brussels and Strasbourg over the next couple of weeks to make them want to get rid of us so much that they let us leave on the 31st of October.